Step outside in winter without a coat. Feel that? Now imagine that's your entire life. Not for an hour. Not for a day. Forever. No heating. No coat. No door to go back inside through. No warm room waiting anywhere on Earth. That was real life for ancient humans across Europe, Asia, and Africa, through ice ages that dragged on for thousands of years at a time, winters that killed slowly every single year without ever letting up. And some of them didn't just survive it. Some of them got genuinely clever about it. Today we're ranking 7 ways ancient humans survived the cold. Worst to best. Real sites, real finds, real dates. Some of these are grim. One is a theory so strange that scientists still argue about it today. And rank 1 isn't fire. Stay with me because the thing that actually beat winter is something almost nobody guesses. Rank 7. Africa and early Europe, hundreds of thousands of years ago. So what do you actually do when you have absolutely nothing? No tools, no shelter, no idea that a solution is even possible? You get closer. Bodies pressed together through the night, children in the middle, adults on the outside. That's it. That's the entire plan. And it does work in a limited way. A tight group loses heat far more slowly than one person alone, which is exactly why being pushed out of your group in winter wasn't just lonely, it was a death sentence handed down without anyone needing to lift a weapon. But think about what this life actually looks like. Nobody sleeps properly. Nobody moves once the pile has formed. And the second you step away to find food or water, you're right back where you started, freezing. And there's a cruelty hidden in it. The people on the outside of the huddle, the ones shielding everyone else, took the worst of it. Somebody was always cold so that somebody else wasn't. This is the floor. Everything else on this list is an attempt to escape it. Now, moving on to the next one. Rank 6, fire. Obvious, right? So why is it only rank 6? Because fire is brilliant right up until the exact moment you walk away from it. It warms one side of your body while the other side quietly freezes. It needs fuel you have to go out and find. In the snow, in the dark. It gutters out in wind and rain. And it doesn't travel with you. Fire is a place, not a solution. You can sit at it, you can't wear it. And here's the detail that should genuinely stop you. Neanderthals had fire. They had it for hundreds of thousands of years across the coldest, harshest stretches of Ice Age Europe. They were physically built for cold better than we were. Broader, stronger, more compact. They still disappeared. Fire buys you a warm spot on the ground. It doesn't buy you a warm life. Fire alone was never the answer. Rank 5 takes us into Ice Age Europe, roughly 40,000 years ago. Animal hides. The logic could not be simpler. You kill something warm, and you take its coat. Animals solved this problem millions of years before we did, so you borrow their solution directly. But picture it honestly. A loose skin thrown over your shoulders, open down the front, flapping at the sides, nothing holding it closed except your own hands. Standing still beside a fire? Wonderful. Genuinely warm. But start walking through open wind and cold air pours straight in at every single gap. The neck, the arms, the waist, everywhere the skin doesn't quite meet itself. So why does that gap matter so much? And there's a second problem nobody thinks about. A wet hide is worse than no hide. Soak one through in snow and it turns heavy, stiff, and freezing, pulling heat out of you instead of holding it in. Hold on to that thought, because the difference between a draped skin and a proper fitted coat turns out to be the single most important thing on this entire list. Now for something genuinely ancient. Rank 4, a bed, border cave, South Africa. And this find is 200,000 years old. Archaeologists uncovered bundles of grass cut and laid down deliberately across the cave floor. It's the oldest bedding ever discovered anywhere on Earth. That alone lifts you up off freezing stone, and it matters far more than it sounds. Bare ground pulls heat out of a body all night long. Steadily, silently. Faster than cold air ever could. Anyone who has slept outdoors without a mat knows exactly what that feels like. But here's the detail that makes this one clever. Underneath the grass, there was a deliberate layer of ash. Why ash? Because insects won't crawl through it. So 200,000 years ago, somebody had worked out 2 separate things. That you sleep warmer off the ground, and that you sleep better when nothing is biting you all night. And notice what it means. Nobody teaches you that in a single night. Somebody tried something, watched what happened, remembered it, and passed it on. That grass bed is the result of knowledge stacking up across generations. That's not just staying alive. That's comfort. That's design. Rank 3 is a house, made out of mammoths. Mezhyrich, Ukraine, around 15,000 years ago. Archaeologists found the remains of a dome-shaped shelter built entirely from mammoth bones. Not a handful of bones, 149 of them. Jaws stacked in a deliberate interlocking pattern, tusks arched over the entrance like a doorway. Now, think about what that actually requires. Out on the frozen steppe, there are no trees, no wood, no stone worth carrying. So you build with the only large material the landscape gives you, the animals themselves. Somebody had to gather those bones, drag them across open ground, sort them by size and shape, and picture the finished dome in their head before laying down a single one. That's not hiding from winter. That's not waiting it out. And it isn't one person's work either. Mammoth skulls are enormously heavy. Moving that many of them means a group organizing itself around a shared plan, deciding together what to make, and then making it. That's building something to stand against it. Now, moving on to the next one, rank 2. And this one might be the strangest idea on this entire list. Cima de los Huesos, the Pit of Bones, in Atapuerca, Spain. A deep shaft containing dozens of early human skeletons, around 430,000 years old. When researchers examined those bones closely, they found something unusual: lesions and clear disruptions in the growth patterns. Marks that seem to appear in a repeating seasonal rhythm, year after year. And a few of them noticed something strange about that rhythm. The same kind of pattern shows up in animals that hibernate, which led to a question nobody was expecting. Did early humans slow their own bodies down through winter? Not ordinary sleep. Something far deeper. A body dialed right down, waiting out the months when there was nothing to eat. Now, this is only a theory. Plenty of scientists think those marks have far more ordinary explanations. Illness, hunger, simple hard living. Nobody can prove it either way, and they may never be able to. But if it turned out to be true, it would mean the answer to winter wasn't something ancient humans built at all. And there's something quietly unsettling about that idea. Every other entry on this list is a thing people chose to do. This one wouldn't have been a choice at all. It was something their bodies did on their own. But here's the thing. What could possibly beat that? Whatever you're picturing for rank 1 right now, forget it completely. It isn't fire. It isn't a cave. It isn't a wall or a fur or a weapon. It's smaller than your finger. Rank 1. Denisova Cave. Siberia, roughly 50,000 years ago. A needle, carved from bone, polished smooth, with one tiny hole punched carefully through the end. That hole changes everything. A hole means thread. Thread means stitching. And stitching means clothing that actually fits. Real sleeves, closed seams, layers that stay shut and hold together while you walk, run, hunt, and sleep out in the snow. Remember rank 5, that loose hide flapping open at every gap? This is the thing that fixed it. A draped skin keeps you alive standing still. Sewn clothing lets you actually live out there, moving, traveling, following the herds into places no unclothed animal could follow. And here's the strangest part of all. We have a clue about when humans first started wearing real clothes, and it doesn't come from any clothing at all. It comes from lice. Body lice live in clothes, head lice live in hair. At some point in our history, one split away from the other and became its own creature. And the DNA suggests that split happened well over 100,000 years ago. Think about how strange that is. The clothes themselves rotted away tens of thousands of years ago. Not a single scrap survives, but the lice are still here, and they carry the timestamp inside them. So we date the invention of clothing using the tiny creatures that moved in afterwards. And that leads to the real answer, the one none of these 7 ranks quite captures on its own. Look again at what's actually on this list. A needle with a hole in it, a planned house, a prepared bed, sorted bones, ash spread deliberately underneath grass. None of that is strength. None of it is fur or thick skin or a body built for snow. Every single one is planning. Somebody imagining a cold that hadn't arrived yet and getting ready for it in advance. Africa never really asked that of us. You don't need to picture next season when the seasons barely change. Winter did. So here's the twist. Ancient humans didn't really beat the cold at all. The cold pushed them, generation after generation, into becoming the kind of creature that plans ahead, prepares, cooperates, and builds. Winter didn't just get survived, Every clever thing on this list is really the same thing wearing a different shape. A human being looking at an empty sky in autumn and thinking about January. Winter is part of what made us us. 7 ways. Africa, Ukraine, Siberia, Spain. Some desperate, some genuinely ingenious, one still being argued about by scientists today. But the biggest twist was never on the list at all. It's that the thing trying hardest to kill us may have been the very thing that shaped us into what we are. Which means every winter you complain about is, in a strange way, the reason you're clever enough to complain about it. I hope this one was worth your time. If you want to see what else ancient humans dealt with, check out the video right on your screen. And if you enjoyed this one, a like, a share, or if you're feeling kind, a subscribe would genuinely mean a lot. Please, if you liked it, consider subscribing. This is Ancient and After, signing off. See you in the next one.